Hello, good afternoon, ciao, buongiorno, come stai? And welcome to Mugello, the Italian Grand Prix, where the marriage, the honeymoon continues. Marco Bezzecchi, pole position for his home Grand Prix after setting the fastest ever lap of this historic Mugello circuit. The first ever 1:43 lap time coming courtesy of the Italian on home soil. And what a day it was for the Noali factory as well, because not only have they just set the fastest ever lap around Mugello, but they have just become the fastest factory, the fastest motorcycle in MotoGP history as well. 368 kilometers an hour, courtesy of Jorge Martin. That is just shy of 230 miles an hour. Incredible speed, an incredible job by Aprilia as they took a gargantuan step from Friday to Saturday. Yesterday, Marco Bezzecchi couldn't do a single 1:44, his best lap, a 1:45.0. Today, he's just made history with a 1:43.9, a step of 1.1 seconds from Friday to Saturday. Incredible work from Aprilia. And it doesn't end there for them as well, because not only are they the fastest motorcycle on one lap around Mugello, not only are they the fastest motorcycle in a straight line in MotoGP history, but they've also just secured, for the first time in their history, the first 1, 2, 3 on the grid. Ralph Fernandez, as he so often does, coming through from Q1 to take second on the grid. And Jorge Martin, for the very first time in his Aprilia career, coming on to the front row of the grid. We all know how good the Martinator is off the line. We all know how good the Martinator is in sprint trim. He's been saying the last key to the puzzle, the last piece to the jigsaw, is the ability to qualify well, to do one lap, and that's exactly what he has done today. Front row of the grid for Martinator. Whereas for the Ducatis, although they looked to be in control yesterday, Fabio Antonio had topped every session coming into qualifying. Pecco Bagnaia was looking back to his best. The pair of them disappointed in the end. 6th for Bagnaia. Third row of the grid, can you believe, for Antonio, who you have to add some context to, wasn't able to go out on his number one machine. That had a technical problem, a big engine failure during free practice too, meaning he had to do his lap times on his second bike. How much of an impact did that have? We'll have to wait and see and allow him to tell us. But having been so fast all weekend, to end up 6th on the grid and 7th on the grid is a bit of a letdown for Ducati. Marc Marquez, in the end, on his injury return, Davide Tardozzi, ahead of the Q2 session, was seen there pleading with his man, begging his man to ride within himself on injury return, to be calm, to be cautious, to not take the usual risk that Marc Marquez does. And in the end, it went in one ear and out of the other, and Marc Marquez does as he only can do. He went out and ended up fronting row 2 of the grid, the fastest Ducati, the only man closest to the Aprilias, which is a phenomenal job from Marc. And again, an indication, as everyone has been telling you, in that World Championship fight, as Bezzecchi, as Martin have been trying to stress, with this championship as long as it is, Marc is definitely not out of the fight. And once he gets back to full fitness, which he feels he may well be able to do once we get to Brno and Assen in around 3 weeks' time, that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So keep your eye on Marc Marquez if this is the only way up for him, as we see the new fastest rider in MotoGP history. I'm going to ask Jorge Martin what it feels like to go 230 miles an hour. It's pretty quick, it's pretty impressive, Fry Jorge. We heard from Fabiano Sterlachini earlier, who said that top speed isn't just all about engine performance. There's so many things that go into it, whether it be the aerodynamics performance, the electronics performance, so many different things. So we'll see. Jorge, very quickly, as you run off, 230 miles an hour. How does that feel to be on a bike that fast?
It felt good. It felt good. I knew I was going to be very fast because I was behind 2 riders, but I didn't know that I was going to make the lap record. Anyway, I could stop and make the corner, so that means we can go a bit farther. But yeah, it's incredible how fast are we going.
We saw your reaction in the box as well. When you saw it, you loved it.
Yeah, I love that. I think we can improve in the race, but I hope not.
Cheers, Jorge. Well done. There we go. The new fastest ever man in MotoGP history. What a performance, what a day for Aprilia. We'll see if we can wait around, shall we? Or shall we tell you the rest of the story as well? Let's go down in this direction. We've heard from Jorge. I've spoken to the poleman Marco Bezzecchi in Parc Ferme earlier today, where he's going to be full focus now on the sprint. Oh, this isn't going to move out the way, which is rather frustrating. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Who's your, for the sprint, who's going to win?
I don't speak English, I'm sorry.
For the sprint, Bezzecchi, Martin, Bezzecchi?
Martin Bagnaia.
For sure?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
there we go. Bezzecchi first, Bagnaia seconds. There we go. Rather unsurprising that, given that we've got an Italian crowd here. Didn't you think the Italians are going to go well? I mean, obviously Bezzecchi has held up his part of the bargain, but for the first time ever in MotoGP, practice finished yesterday with Italians first, second, third and fourth. But the Spaniards have come roaring back today with Raul Fernandez second. What a performance from him, by the way. I said to him at Parc Ferme, he does it so often. He's looks to be completely lost on a Friday, isn't able to put a lap time together, and then they find something overnight to be able to take a huge step. He puts the work from Q1 into practice and is then able to fire himself through with that Q1 knowledge into a extremely solid qualifying position with second on the grid. And Jorge Martin, as you heard, fast in a straight line, but fast around this full circuit. One thing that we do want to underline, and it's going to be one of the key things to watch, is after what happened last time out in Barcelona, Fernandez and Martin coming together, Massimo Rivola walking down to the trackhouse boss, showing his displeasure, wagging his finger in the face of Davide Brivio, the emotion, the rage from Martin when he came to the box, shoving the team boss Paolo Bonora. After that, all four Aprilia riders were summoned to a meeting on Thursday where Paolo Bonora said explicitly that the message is clear. When it is Aprilia on Aprilia, when you are fighting against another rider on the same motorcycle, the key message was respect. He said respect, total respect. Is that message going to still be ringing true? It's going to be fascinating to see in both the sprint and the Grand Prix to see if there are any clashes between those Aprilia riders at the front, in particular between Raul Fernandez and Jorge Martin, because the pair of them still see that incident in Barcelona very different from one another. Raul Fernandez blames Jorge Martin. Jorge Martin blames Raul Fernandez. So if there's another flashpoint, things could start to get out of control for Aprilia, who we saw just a few cracks starting to open up, but certainly today has not only papered over those cracks, has got them back plain sailing, the wind in their sails, showcasing why they have the best motorcycle, undoubtedly, I think we could say now, in MotoGP in 2026, why they are the red-hot favourites for the World Championship, even with Marc Marquez when he gets back to full fitness. With the way the Aprilias are going at the moment, can even he put together a late charge to be able to stop the Aprilias from taking the championship? Will it be, as we predict, Bezzecchi versus Martin for the crown? And unsurprisingly, down at Ducati, after their frustration, no one around. A great job, you have to say, from this man. This is the shining light, you would have to say. On the podium last time out in Barcelona. Now, an incredible job. Middle of the second row of the grid. Fermin Aldeguer. Fermin, very quickly, I was just saying, that was a super performance. You must be happy with that. Top 5 on the grid.
Yeah, we have to be super happy. From yesterday when I start, the feeling is so good. It's like the last year. This is super important for me, and after difficult months, just enjoy and use this good feeling.
And a lap time without any slipstream as well. That's quite impressive.
Yeah, I like to go alone. Sometimes when I with the other rider, I'm slower, and when I'm alone, I'm super focused. We do a good lap time.
It was a very good lap time. Well done.
Thank you.
There we go. Fermin Aldeguer, happy with his work, and so he should be as well. Middle of the second row for him. Marc Marquez ahead of him. Pecco Bagnaia behind him. Row 3, Fabio Di Gianantonio, whose race pace is very good, but the story with Digi this year has been that very, very fast, once we get into race trim, And he has been very good over one lap as well. His big issue has been getting it off the line. His starts haven't been that great so far this year. So the fact that he's having to come through from the third row of the grid, I think would cast a lot of doubt over whether Didier can get himself into a position where he can fight for victory. I would say it's going to be a big challenge for Didier to be able to pull off the comebacks of all comebacks if he's to come through from row 3 of the grid, given the form of the Aprilias, given the pace of Bagnaia ahead of him. It would be a sensational ride to be even on the podium, which will still be his target. I think his target coming into today was to try and win the Italian Grand Prix. I think that dream has started to drift away from him. So let's see what Didier can do. It's a tough ask for him from row 3 of the grid. He'll be joined there by teammate Frankie Morbidelli, who in the end will take 9th. I believe, I'm going to double check, was Pedro Costa, was it, that took 8th? I'm going to have to double check that one. I was so concentrated, I was so focused on making sure that I got the first 2 rows of the grid to then go and make sure I knew who I was chatting to in Parc Ferme. I haven't looked down further than that. But Yamaha, good job, it have to be said, by 4th row of the grid for Alex Rins. He did all of his work yesterday, just getting into Q2. Gave him the opportunity to breathe this morning and know that worst case scenario, he was going to be on row 4 of the grid. And I've spotted a former MotoGP star down here. Former MotoGP star turned DJ. And he's a very good DJ as well. Because, if I can, I'm going to grab a quick chat with a certain Marco Melandri. Marco, ciao, how are you?
Very good, thanks. And you?
Very good. I was just telling the audience at home, the last time I saw you, you were playing a brilliant DJ set at our launch party in Kuala Lumpur. I have to say, I'm very impressed.
Thank you. It's a passion that I have since I'm 14. And even today, I'm going to play with at the fun zone with the riders. And tonight there is a big festival. So to bring music in MotoGP, for me, is the best things can happen.
Absolutely. They mix so well together. From what we've seen on track today, the Aprilias have taken quite the step from yesterday.
Yeah, for Ducati it's not easy because Ducati home track and 3 Aprilia in the front. So it's going to be a very tough race. I saw Marc Marquez riding very smooth again. Finally, I think he's back.
Yeah.
I think he's back. Yeah, it's going to be fun today.
I mean, to not be 100% and the fastest Ducati was a great job. For the sprint, who do we think? It feels like Marco in a sprint hasn't had that sprint win this year. It is today.
Yeah, I think for Marco, Saturday is very tricky day, so he has just to think about the podium. Normally, Martin has an amazing start, but for me, Marc, he would like to surprise the Italian crowd.
Really? Okay, let's keep an eye on Marc Marquez then. Well, Marco, great to see you here. Next time you're in Ibiza, you'll have to let me know. I'll make the trip across. I'll make the trip across. There we go. Marco Melandri, of course, the man behind, for me, the coolest moment in MotoGP history. That will never be topped. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Phillip Island, on his way to winning the Australian Grand Prix, coming out of the final corner, the bike sideways, the rear wheel smoking, and he just gives it the peace sign. What a man. What a man. It doesn't get any better than that. I wish I could have that kind of aura, and he's still got it now. What a life. From a MotoGP elite level rider to now being a DJ playing around the world. I'm quite jealous, I have to say. Hopefully one day I can try and emulate those kind of steps. Right, there we go then. Inside the paddock here in Mugello. What a Grand Prix, what an Italian Grand Prix we've got coming your way tomorrow afternoon. But before that, the Tissot Sprint, Aprilia's first, second, third on the grid. Ducati with their backs against the wall. Marco Melandri saying he thinks Marc Marquez is ready to spring a surprise. Can Pecco Bagnaia from the second row of the grid try and join him as the factory Ducati squad try and take down the Wally? Or will, as we saw in Barcelona, the Aprilias get in each other's way once again? Total respect. The cry, the plea from Paolo Bonora. Will that be listened to, or are we going to see fireworks again? I personally hope we see fireworks. Make sure you tune in and find out.